Good morning, Tommy. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Where are you today? Where are you right now?
At Big Belly Kelly having breakfast.
That's right. There we are. He's having sausage, eggs, home fries, and rye toast. I'm just having home fries, rye toast, and over easy eggs and coffee. At Big Belly Kelly this morning.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. But you know what? If he still starts to something privately up there, that would.
All right, let's eat before this gets cold. Good afternoon. Yes, it's afternoon now. I just got back from Jewett City, so I'll show you the huge purchase I made today. Before I show you that huge purchase, and I mean that not in a realistic way, I guess you'd call it. I don't know. I guess I'm being facetious, I guess the word is. Anyways, yes, this is the 90 Econoline. And I don't know, for many years, there's a mystery leak in this vehicle. I never could find out where it's coming from. We've even had the windshield replaced a few years ago, and they put all new sealant in there. There was no rot out or anything around there. We had Safelite Auto Glass do it because I had a big crack in it, and anyways, they took care of that. And I'm still getting water in there. And the only thing I can do, the carpet is like wet all the time, not soaked, but very wet. Mildew's all here. The whole van smells mildew. But then again, everything, I mean, like musty smell. And everything, even in our house, is the same way. So we're going to damp red like it's going out of style. And it's just the way it is. It's something we're going to have to live with because, we're near a brook. And you've had the worst summer we have ever had in my years living. We've never had humidity constantly every single day. So everything is musty. I mean, the siding is mildew. You don't see it here, but there's a little bit on the side. There's mildew on people's roofs, all green and everything else, on all the, the mobile homes around and houses around the area. It's just the way it is. So we learn to live with it. That's just it. So everything is musty, So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the big box fan and I'm going to just blow it. Now I can leave this door open because the lights don't come on here because the switch is bad, and that's just as well. I can't open the driver's door to get a cross breeze, but I did open the driver's window, and I'm just going to, just blow it out and leave it running all day long. That's all I can do, because I don't know where it's leaking. On the driver's side, right now it's fine because it's not raining. You see this thing right here? Now, you've probably seen it the way back. I made a video of that. This is a galvanized tray that I made up, and it catches water, which is leaking in the corner. Now, I had the cowling off years ago, and I siliconed the hell out of everything in there, and I'm still getting water coming down here. And so, right now there's a tray here, and it's dry now because it hasn't rained for a couple days. So, runs down in this hose and it just sticks down through with the other wire. I didn't have to drill any hole in it. But everything is wet. I mean, damp. Not, it's not wet like my hands are wet, but it's damp. So the whole van is terribly musty. We took it out last night. And, you get mustiness on the steering wheel, and handling this, it's sticky. You know how plastic gets? It's like sticky. So when you live amongst a lot of trees and you live 75 to 100 feet away from a brook, that's just the way it is. You're going to have to live with it. That's just the way it is. There's just a lot of trees, and we got, I'm kicking mushrooms, toadstools, or whatever you want to call them. They're all over the yard. because we don't get any dry air. Everything is musty. Even the air around here doesn't smell refreshing. My wife noticed that. She says even, opening the windows, everything's musty. It doesn't smell like nice fresh air because we're in the tropics. And we're up in the Northeast, but we're in the tropics. It's just terrible. I really don't know how people can stand living down there. I feel for them too, because I know how they must feel all the time down there. We're not supposed to be getting this kind of weather. So anyways, I know it's a rant video kind of, but I want to just show you what I'm doing today. Okay, that's high. Nope, the wrong way. Okay. That's what we want. So we're just kind of like airing it out. I had a lot of this, it's weird, it's like a white goo all through here. Not green, but white goo. And I took some bleach cleaner and a brush and scrubbed it about a couple weeks ago. That seemed to have taken care of it, but I can't see under that dashboard and tell where it's coming from. And I ran all kinds of tests on this in the years past. I've taken a garden hose and flooded over here, through here and through there, on the windshield, all the way around, on the top of the van, all the way around. And would you believe no water came in? But yet let it rain, and I got water. Everything's wet. On the side doors, I can't open them now, but there's a little step there. You've seen it if you look back on the bodywork videos. There's carpet, and that's wet, because maybe water comes in through the top. I don't know. I mean, all I know is there's water getting in the van, but most of it's coming from the driver's side underneath the dash. But I sealed everything. Even the windshield wiper mold has got a ton of clear silicone all around it, all around the gasket. I mean, I did all this before. I had the cowling off. I spent a lot of time on that. I even had a guy look at it. And, a few years back, probably about 5 years or so back, and he ran a garden hose in it, and he couldn't find any leaks either. But yet, let it rain, and it'll leak every time. So there's, just one of these things, You got to learn to live with the mildew, because that's just the way it is when you live in the woods. Well, we're not really in the woods, but when you live amongst trees and near a brook, you just got to face up the fact that we're going to have to live with mildew. That's just the way it is. Okay, enough of that. I want to show you my huge purchase today. Before I get started on that, close this all up. I even put back the bad transistor, but I did not put heatsink compound under it because it's no good anyways. I'm going to just put it off to the side, and maybe if I get a proper desoldering tool, like an electric pump on it or something, a vacuum pump, maybe I'll go back on this again. So my outlook on this is, if I can get some kind of desoldering arrangement to get those transistors out before the ham auction, fine. That's going to be, I think it's around the 26th. Don't quote me on that, because I have a terrible memory. But it's in that area anyways. So if not, I will just bring it out. I put a description inside for whoever works on it as to what I have found, that I'm getting my voltages off the rectifiers and this and that. And when I sell this at the auction, if I do, I'll probably redo these tags here, but you know, they'll come off easy enough. Make it maybe a little larger and easier to read. Because when it comes up to auction, the auctioneer is going to just hold it up there and read it quickly, so I don't want a whole lot of text on there. So I haven't actually given up on it, but for now I did, yes. I want to get this off the bench so I can show you what I picked up today. $5 for both of these. I know, analog, and it's obsolete. I have never seen a TV like this. I did have one of these. I swapped it to a friend of mine for something else. And I checked the battery compartments in both of these. There's no batteries and there's no corrosion. So that's good. I won't, if these aren't working, I will not go into them and work on it. But I figured for $5, I was looking at this and I said, I don't really need it, but I've never seen one like this. I'll pull it out of the case in a minute here. And the guy says, $5. So he says, take this one. So I took that. He had a couple of others, the solid state ones with the LCD screen on them. I've had those before when they first came out years ago. I've had a couple of those, but I wasn't interested in that. But these are the CRT, and as far as I know, this is a CRT. I could be wrong. I don't have any batteries to try it out in the shop. I'd have to go and get some, but there isn't, other than a raster, you're not going to get anything on these. But let me pull it out and show you, and I'm on the ZE1, so you won't get any close-ups. First of all, the Sony Watchman. The antenna is good. I pulled it out. Battery compartment is clean, and cosmetically it's been taken very good care of. Now these were there for most of the day. Well, I left early, but not as early as I did last week. So I only spent today $5. Now I wasn't going to spend any more than $10 today, because I got enough money now left that I can send out Jim's package, which is all packaged up, by the way, and ready to go out tomorrow morning. So then I bought a coffee. When I first got there, I had a coffee, even though I had them in Big Billy Kelly. And then I went, after I made my first round outside, and these were there, but I was just thinking, do I need these things? No. But for $5, would you pass them up? Antennas on that is good too. Let's open this up. Nice case. Realistic. That's got to be a CRT, one of those flat CRTs, but I have never, ever seen one this big on this type of tube. I mean, I've seen them on LCDs. It opens more, but I'm not going to try doing it. The dial works. You can see it. I'd have to get my magnifier. I don't know what model number that is. I don't know if that's upside down. I do not have my glasses on. I can't tell if that's upside down. I think it is. Yeah, that's the right way to read it. I can see it now. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. $5 for both of them. They're collector's pieces, I guess. Stuff like this don't take up much room. I don't have much of a problem getting stuff like this. But I didn't see anything over there that I needed. But as I said in my last video, I got to learn to stop buying solid state stuff. This is solid state, yes it is. But if there's anything wrong with them, I'm not going into them. I will not attempt to work on these. They will be just like they are. I'll put batteries in, and if they don't work, you know, in other words, if I don't get a raster on the screen, you're not going to get any signal unless you have a digital to analog converter, and in here we don't, in this area we don't get any reception. Even when we had analog TV, and I discussed that before, we get nothing in this area. So you certainly won't get digital in this area. So the only way you're going to get anything off of this is to run it from a VCR into here. So what I'm going to do off camera, it's so much easier to do things off camera. I'm going to check, I think this takes 4 AA's. I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go in the house and get some alkaline batteries, because what few I got out here, they're mixed brands and they're not brand new. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'll be back. I just got to go in. First I got to check and see what batteries. I don't know if this takes 4 or 6. I really don't know. We'll find out. And I'll get back to you, and then we can see if we get a raster on either one of these, and some kind of audio hissing sound or something. All right, it takes 4 C cells. Fortunately, I had those in the shop, brand new. I just took them out of the package. All right, let me put the cover on. Well, that's encouraging, isn't it? Of course, you're not going to get anything. Looks like it's picking up some digital noise or something in there. It's got a scratch in the outer glass here. Not sure if that's UHF or VHF. Plenty of volume. I'm not sure if that's UHF or VHF. All right, that was UHF. All right, this is VHF. All right, well, don't forget we're not, and it's a push button for the power. Alright, so this guy works. That's great. So $2.50 a piece. I can't beat that. I spent more than that in Big Belly Kelly this morning. Alright, be right back. I got to put some AA. I know this takes AA's. Alright, this pack comes out easy. It's been a long time since I had one. I don't remember the one I had, whether it came out like this or not, but takes 4 AA's, and it just pulls out with this thing here. Contacts look nice and shiny in there. So this was taken very good care of. So it's a good chance it'll work. I just got to go get some AA's. I'll be right back. All right, let's try it. looks like maybe the vertical holder's got to be adjusted, but I'm doing this one-handed, so. But anyways, without getting a signal in it, we can't prove completely if it's working. I just got the batteries in there, but I won't leave them in because things get put away and get forgotten about. So that's what we've got here. So this one is a Sony FD20A. Also in very good cosmetic condition. This is a realistic Portavision. It looks like about a 4-inch screen. Catalog number 16-116. Takes 4 C cells. So that's all I bought today. Other than 1 hot dog and 1 diet root beer and the coffee when I first got there. And of course Big Belly Kelly this morning. Okay, so let me flap a little bit about this power supply. Not that you want to really hear about it. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you. I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible, but that's never easy for me to do. In fact, it seems to be an impossible task. I met a couple people up there in the inside in Jewett City Flea Market in the building. I wandered through there also, but I always check the outside first. And I met one of the fellows that was worked in the maintenance department where I worked. And I also met, well, he recognized me, a fellow named Chris. How you doing, Chris? Nice chatting with you there today. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he said, you know, he noticed me right away. You can't miss this face on YouTube, I'll tell you that much. So we were talking a little bit, and I asked him if he had a channel. He said, no, he don't have a channel, but he does watch my videos, amongst other videos. So, it was good chatting with those guys, and picking up these goodies, and I didn't have any intention of buying a lot of stuff anyways, and it's good that I only spent $5, and I think, you know, even though everything's digital now, I think, I would say the majority of you out there, if you saw these items and there were $5 for both of them, I think you'd buy them. Even if it's nothing more than just sticking them on the shelf, and that's probably about all, you know, they're good for. And, you know, it's too bad, but they're pretty neat, you know, especially this one. I've had a couple of these, and one was not working and one was working, that I've gotten probably at yard sales or whatever. I don't know if there's a video input on this. External antenna. AV in. Well, it has an AV in on it, so that's good. Audio video. So anyways, on that power supply, I want to thank you all again. And yes, I don't like making negative videos, and you know, probably maybe shouldn't have, but you know, if I left it all up in the air, I'd be getting tons of comments, well, how you making out with that and everything else. And so I figured we'll just close the series for now. And what I'm going to have to do is I had some suggestions using fresh solder. Another viewer told me that's probably this lousy lead-free solder that when they made this power supply, and it's like it needs 50 degrees more degrees Fahrenheit in order to, you know, melt that properly, and adding new solder. Well, when I added new solder, my gun flowed it good. Tightening the tips on the gun, yes, I had guns for years. That's what I started out with in 1959. Or shortly after that, I started out with a little pencil iron, which was undersized. But very soon thereafter, maybe another year or so later, I got my first Weller soldering gun, which is long gone now, of course, because these guns I got at yard sales. I always, yes, you used to get a little wrench with them when you buy them new and you tighten up the nuts are always loosening all the time. And I make tips out of 10 gauge wire, you know, house wiring. They make very good tips out of 10 gauge. Unfortunately, I don't have any here, but I used to have a lot of it when I had my attic workshop. But I could probably come up with a piece of it. I might have a scrap piece of Romex, probably about 5 or 6 feet long. I can always take some out if I need it. And also, you can make the tip shorter, like I think it was on Mr. Carlson's lab. I knew that too. You can just make a very short tip out of 10 gauge wire, and you can generate an enormous amount of heat versus that long tip on the gun. So I've done that too, and you can get the heat. The problem is you can't get the heat out of this thing. This is 45 watts, but it doesn't give you the heat out of this. I can let this sit for half an hour, and it's only going to get so hot, and then you put that in there, and it just don't melt the solder. Very little of the solder melts. So this bulb is not clogged up. I have another soldering bulb. And it's pretty well clogged up. Yeah, it's clogged. But even when it was unclogged, you know, you got your iron on there and you put that on. By the time you get this on there, the solder pool is cooled down. What I need is something like this that generates a lot of heat, like maybe 100 watts at least, probably about 800 degrees Fahrenheit, with an electric pump on it. In other words, a desoldering station. Those things are like $150, $200 or even more than that. And what little use I am going to be, you know, few times I'm going to be using it, it just don't pay. And I can't afford that anyway, so, you know, that's out of the question. So the only option I have is to take my gun, which is working all right, add fresh solder. That's a good point. It didn't dawn on me that probably uses that lousy lead-free solder. I thought this Triplite PR60 was made before they started using lead-free solder, but what do I know? I don't know what year that thing was made. I'm saying probably in the 70s or 80s, I'm guessing. So, and if it was in the 70s or 80s, I would think that they would be using lead-based solder. I will never use lead-free solder. All my solder here contains lead. That's all I will ever use. So, this is 50/50 Nashua solder that I've showed you before, and it is rosin core solder. It's one of the rolls of solder that I hung on to when I got rid of my attic workshop. 5-pound roll, pure water white rosin core. I'm going to say 50-50 solder. And it's very good solder, but of course it's big diameter. And I had some given to me, and I bought some at flea markets and so forth. And all my solder is lead-based. I will not use the other junk. Positively will not use it. So, well, I'm going to put this aside. It's on the floor. I got to find another home so I don't kick into it. Underneath there, under the bench, because if I ever get it going, it'll be on the floor, on a shelf, low to the floor, to power anything I need. But I probably will never get a 2 meter and 440 rig anyways. And then I'd have to invest in antennas and stuff. I don't really need it. How often do I get on 2 meters? I haven't been on it in years. So, you know. But when I saw that for 20 bucks, I couldn't pass it up, and I don't think a lot of you would. And I've had suggestions of parting it out. The transformer's worth more than that. I believe that, yes. So, if I can't get those transistors off due to the fact that I haven't got the proper desoldering equipment, I will simply try to get my money back. You know, I've gotten, the last time I sold some things, I got a lot more for some of them things than I thought I would. I had a little realistic, I think it's a 440 or 404, I can't remember, little tiny 220 megahertz transceiver, little tiny thing that I never use, and it worked, but I didn't like it, and I got like $37 for it, and I've had it since the 90s, and I bought it at that time at a ham auction back in the 90s, the late 90s, for 25 bucks. It's a 220, just 220 only. It's a tiny thing. I can't remember the model number. It only puts out like about, I don't know, two or 500 milliwatts, something like that. It only takes like 2 AA's. So, I mean, if I sell this thing at a ham auction, this could go up for who knows what. Because I'm going to specify on that all 6 pass transistors are no good. I'm going to also mark on the outside that I'm getting 23.5 volts approximately off the rectifiers, so that automatically these guys are going to read that and say, hey, this thing's got a good power transformer, good rectifiers, and the man's honest enough to say that all 6 pass transistors are no good. Those guys probably have the desoldering equipment to work on that. So I might come back with some extra cash. If I don't get at least 20 bucks for it, and I really would be a heartbreak only to get 20, I'm going to take it back with me. All 35 pounds of it, that's what it weighs. It's 48 watts 48 amps continuous. I looked the specs up. And intermittently 60 amps. So it's 48 amps continuous. And the 2N 3771 transistors are rated for 30 amps apiece. I looked the specs up and I have the spec sheet on it. Thanks to some of you viewers out there. I've got them in my computer. I appreciate that. I also appreciate the comments about the putting fresh solder on. I knew this, but my mind has a brain fart sometimes. When when you climb up in years like I am, your brain is nowhere near as good as it was years ago. And I get to a point where I feel stupid, on things that I should know. And I've had some of my viewers say, well, there's nothing, transistors are just like basically like tubes, think of them as a triode. Very true, very true. But my dislike for transistors are lack of total understanding. I'll be honest, total understanding. And for the most part, they're too hard, too small to work with. Especially your small transistors on your crowded boards, like your transistor radios. I can't work on that stuff. I couldn't do it back in the 60s and 70s. It was too small. I had good eyesight. I had excellent eyesight, but I couldn't work with that small stuff. So, anyways, I want to thank you, and I do apologize for the negative video. One of my viewers said I don't like negative videos. I understand, neither do I, and you know, you see, you got to understand one thing about me on this channel. I show my failures as well as my successes. Let's say I'm repairing the power supply, okay? And I made videos of it, and 6 months later, you don't see any videos, and 6 months later it's working. Well, I probably had 1,000 failures, but I'm not, you know, if I was the kind of guy that wouldn't put them on there and only showed you the successes, you would all think that I'm some kind of a genius. And then I would have all kinds of people complimenting me on things that I don't deserve. So, if I'm struggling with something, I try to be myself. And although I have more negative things that I do on electronics than positive things, and that's not good, but like this power supply down here, I've gotten a lot of good helpful hints on it. And I followed the majority of your suggestions. But there has been some problems with commenters, as I said. I'm not going to repeat that. That in spite of the fact that I plainly showed everything, you know, my findings were doubted, you know. What else can I say, you know? So, anyways, we know that these two guys are working at least as rasters and audio, all right? We got a little bit of a border on the top and the bottom of the screen of this. It could be the vertical hold, you know, when it's not adjusted, your raster's going to flicker like that. Or it could be a height problem. Or it could be electrolytics, which I won't work on. I will not do that, you know, because I'll destroy it trying to work on it. It's too small, and I'll fail on it. You know, there's no way I'll succeed on these things if it became a problem where I had to go into them. These are basically going to be shelf queens. And who knows, after I play around with it a little bit, I may sell them. But the problem with that is trying to be honest. And I just have to be honest. I can't just lie and say, well, I paid $50 for this. So if somebody wanted to buy it, which they wouldn't at 50, but I can't do that. I gotta be honest what I paid for it. That's it. Now, if I was in the retail business and selling things, no, I wouldn't tell you what I paid for this. It's none of your business. But I may want to sell this, you know, I might, after I play around with it and see how it looks with a video camera going into the AV input. I mean, I got my big monitor here, so I don't need it other than just playing around with it. The same with this guy. I don't think this guy has earphone and power. Yes, this has a video input jack also. Not audio, just video. I may want to play around with that stuff. So, you know, if I sell it, I'm going to be honest with you, I want more than $2.50 for either one of these. You know, I don't mind giving stuff away, like extra parts and stuff. All I ask is shipping. You know, but if I can make a couple dollars, when I use that term as a figure of speech, a little bit, it helps my hobby, you know, on this. And I don't ask, I don't beg, even though I say, well, I'd like to get this and I'd like to get that. It's not a hint that, the old 64 goat is looking for something for nothing again. This is why I hesitant about making videos, and when I think about later on, I say, well, the old, you know, what I said on the video, and such a video, that I need this, I don't have this, I don't have that. And not all viewers, but there's always somebody out there, a troll, that may not ever comment, because he wouldn't be allowed to get through, and say, well, here he is begging for something again, you know. So that's not the case. I'm just being open, and that's me. You know, I would like to have $1 million. I'm not asking anybody to donate it to me. Hey, it'd be good if you did, huh? All right, seriously. I think what's going to happen, I'm talking so much, I'm going to close this video out now, because I've talked too damn long. And if Tommy has a video, I'm going to let him make his own. If he has one, I don't know what he's going to have. And we can upload it afterwards. And we may even stick Big Belly Kelly's breakfast back in there again on that one. But I'm not sure about that. So, you know, because he's due home in, see, it's 1 o'clock now. He's due home in another 2 hours. Because he's going to be making other stops. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, because I'm sure you'll see more videos. I got to go out and see how the big van's doing. I got to let that air out all day until sundown. I just don't understand why I'm getting water in there. I don't really know. None of the door seals seem to be leaking, except on the side doors, the 2 side doors you open. You know, on these 90 vans, the doors open this way. All right, not slide like a minivan. And down there's always water, but the seal seems to look good. But the biggest issue is water coming down underneath the dashboard, and it is not coming from the seal of the windshield. And I don't think it's coming from the cowling. I had the cowling off, and I cleaned it all out. I took a hose and flooded it in there, and nothing came down in that corner where that little tray is I made. Bone dry. But yet let it rain and it'll come in there every single time. So I might have to take a tarpaulin and put a tarpaulin over the first half of the van. It's going to look like hell, but, you know, because I'm sure we're going to get some more rain. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you all later. Have a good day. Good weekend.